Lost for Words by Maiden. Now we're not going to take you the entire way through with the lead solos and all the cool other bits as well. We're going to work on the introduction, this part here, because that's a really important rhythm to learn. And we're also going to look at this nice little offbeats where they go, and get some nice little pinky stretches as well. But before we go any further, please make sure you've got the PDF available as well. If you need a copy of the PDF, email me or send me a WhatsApp. I'll be happy to comply. And let's get going. We're going to start with this part here. Only a lot faster, obviously. Okay, so we're going to zoom in with a picking hand first of all to get the picking sorted out, because that's the main sort of niche or the main focus for this particular study. And then we're going to add the notes, and trust me, adding the notes is the easy part. Okay, focusing on our picking hand. First of all, a lot of palm damping. So we want to make sure your palm is resting on the saddles. These are the saddles here of your guitar. Obviously electric guitar is the best way to go for this, although you can do it on a nylon string acoustic, because I did today during the class. Also sounds quite cool actually, but we want to try and get it as original as possible. So palm is on the back, and you're going to have this type of sound. If your guitar sounds like this, then you have no damping. If your guitar sounds like this, you've got too much damping. So it's not about the pressure, it's about where your hand is resting. So I'm trying to get a bit of an angle shot there to show you perfect damping. You see my palm resting there. And if I come too far forward, it goes weird, and if I go too far back, nothing at all. So I hope this helps you to get a good damping position and sound first of all. Make sure your damping works. Now we're working with triplets, which means each beat, if I'm counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 beats, but each beat must have 3 notes. So you're going to have 1, 2, 3, 2, 2, 3, 3, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3. And the trick with that there is when you're alternating your strokes, your first triplet starts with a downbeat, 1, 2, 3, and now it picks up the bottom of the A string, because that's what we're playing, and your next triplet starts on an upstroke, up, down, up, then back to down, up, down, up, down, up. So you're not just simply going down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. Yeah, that sounded boring, eh? You want to get that triplet feel, that down, up, down, down, up, down, 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 happening inside it, and you can hear it here. So you want to go loud, quiet, quiet, loud, quiet, quiet, loud, quiet, quiet, creating an accent so you can still feel those 4 beats. Okay, so slow motion again. 2, 3, 4. Sorry, I couldn't resist the pinch harmonic at the end there. But I'm sure by now you've got your concept for that down up the whole way through, and for each beat you've got 3 notes. 3 notes per beat is what they call a triplet. Okay, so we're going to focus now on what is my fretting hand doing. And to start off, we got 3 open zeros. 1, that's your first triplet. Second triplet starts on the 12, and I'm using my ring finger here, but I don't really mind if you use your middle finger, finger 2, or even your first finger for this. This is one of the few songs we're not going to be overly fussy which fingers you use for the movement. So again, first triplet, second triplet, and you'll notice I started the second triplet on an upstroke. You can see the pick in the bottom corner, and then I release the open to get the last 2 notes for the triplet. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And again, it makes no difference which finger you're using, so I'm not even consciously thinking about what finger I'm using here. So whatever finger you do use for the numbers, I'm okay with that for this song. Okay, not other songs, but for this song we're cool. And we're going to go open for the first triplet, 12 for the second triplet, 10 for the third triplet, and 9 for the fourth triplet. So slow motion, 3, 4, open, 12, 10, 9. And again, any finger is fine. You can even do a combination. I'm not too fast, like I said. So I'm maybe sort of focusing on it, maybe overstressing it, but be comfortable with the rhythm, because the rhythm is the focus for this. Now, once you've done the open 12, 10, 9, you go 10, 9, 7, and then we're going to zoom out, and I'll show you why now. But let's just get the 10, 9, 7, so we're building it in stages. When we sat in class today and worked through it, I noticed that when we try to tackle the whole piece, all the numbers are quite sort of scary. They're a bit sort of daunting, having so much numbers. But when you break it into sections, 0, 12, 10, 9, 10, 9, 7. It made the whole learning process easier. Okay, so let's try together. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then from that, you need to zoom out. Because if you look at your tab, your next 3 numbers are 3, 2, 3. So it's a big jump, and that's what makes this study so nice. So this song for me is more of a technical study using the introduction and part 1 and part 2 of the whole thing, because it's going to help us get used to jumps, get your gallop, your rhythm nice and smooth, get your damping nice and smooth. So like I said, not a complete study, we just want to get the intro. It sounds cool. Now, what's the jump from the to the 3, 2, 3 from the beginning? 1, 2, 3, 4. Nice big jump, and then from there we have to come back to the open. Now the last chord I played should actually be there. I'm not restarting the video. Okay, but to show you what's happening over there, we're going back to the 12, 10, 9, 10, 9, and you'll notice there's no 7 after that we had in the second bar. So if you're looking at your tab, you'll notice that bars 1 and 3 under part 1 are the same. If you're looking at bars 2 and 4 of part 1, you'll notice that halfway through the 10, 9, 7, the 7 disappears, and in place of the 7, you have a C power chord. And just to show you the power chord up front, I'm using my first finger and pinky. You may use your ring finger if you want to, and I'm putting my finger flat. So I'm strumming strings 5, 4, and 3. I like the pinky, and it's simply going to be. And listen for the timing change in that as well. So that whole 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3 is gone. It's 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So you're sort of going to a half time for the triplet. So your bar 3 and 4. Listen for the change when I go to the C5 power chord. And here we go. You can hear the timing change there. We're now going to focus on a different angle just to try and get a bit of a feel to make it a bit more interesting and see how the whole hand works together. And I like the different angles as well. It sort of lets you see how the palm's working, gets you to see the hand movement from a different angle. And I find it sometimes helps with your techniques as well if it's not working as well as you'd like. But let's get going. Part 1, we're going to go through slow motion and then we'll do it quick. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then faster. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then you go to part number 2. Which you can see is a lot more on the lower register. So we're going to focus once more in onto our fretting hand. Now part 2 starts with open E string, 6th string. And you can hear 2 triplets, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And then you go to a G power chord, which is basically the same as a C, only 1 string higher. So that's G power chord, G5, C power chord. We want the G. And if you look at your first bar and listen to the timing, you can also hear that sort of half time when he goes from the open E to the G power chord. Okay. Then he started again in the second bar, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And watch the pinky go up to fret number 5, and you go 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. We got that. So slow motion, first and second bar together. same sort of concept as in part 1. Part 2, bars 1 and 3 are the same. And now dig what he does with the 4th bar. And for the last part there, he jumps all the way to an E power chord by fret number 7. First finger is at the 7th fret. Again, your power chords can look like that, fingers 3 and 4. Or you can flatten the ring finger, or you can flatten the pinky, whichever works for you. And you simply go. And now to change angle one more time. And let's go through part number 2. 1, 2, 3, 4. Next up, you want to join part 1 and part 2 together. So as a suggestion, as an exercise, play through part 1 twice, play through part 2 twice, come back to part 1 twice, just to get your endurance playing. If you're playing in a metal band or a hard rock band, you need endurance. You need to know that you're going to play songs that are 4, 5, 6 minutes long, and you're going to play a lot of them very, very fast. So let's go. We're going to do part 1 twice, to part 2, and then back to part 1 and part 2. And let's see if you can keep up the whole way through. I'm not going to go full speed, but sort of a nice tempo. Are we ready? 1, 2, 3, 4. Hope you've enjoyed that. If you want to learn the entire song, let me know. And there's some nice lead harmonies with guitar parts 1 and 2 if you listen to it. And but like I said, the purpose of this video was to get some nice triplets working, which we don't do very often, focus on damping, and to work on our speed for our picking hand. Any questions, drop me a line, drop me an email. Otherwise, have an awesome day. Take care.